Hey, kia ora. Helen Brahms here, coming to you live from Surprise in Arizona. Hope you're all having a super fantastic, sparkling day. Welcome to Before the Dirt Nap podcast number 1560. I can now cross that one off. Time for some more James Bond. So last night we saw Diamonds Are Forever, which was very sparkly. Yes, Diamonds Are Forever, very sparkly. Okay. Tonight, that was the final Sean Connery movie, Until Never Say Never Again, which is not part of Eon Productions. So not part of the James Bond franchise. But tonight we get to see the very first film that Roger Moore did as James Bond. Now, they actually approached him to do Dr. No, but at the time he didn't feel he was old enough to play the character. And then they approached him again to do On Her Majesty's Secret Service, but he was he had other commitments at the time. So when they wrote James Bond character for Roger Moore and what am I watching tonight? Live and Let Die, which came out in 1973, the writers decided to make him just, to use his personality, his sense of humor came in, his light approach to things. So it kind of made things a little more interesting. They wanted him not to be like Sean Connery or not to be like the Saint, which is a character that he played in a TV series. If you haven't seen the TV series of the Saint from the 60s, it's awesome. I haven't seen it for a few years, but I thought Roger Moore did very well in that. And so they wanted to keep it away from that Simon Templar character, keep it away from Sean Connery's portrayal of James Bond, and make James Bond Roger Moore's own, from his own personality. And I think they did a good job with that. Now, Live and Let Die takes us to New York, down to San Monique, and to Louisiana. And so there's all sorts of stuff. This one is the very first one that involves a drug trafficking ring, which is very interesting because they also bring in like the voodoo of it as well. Bring in some voodoo, and they bring in crocodiles, and there's a great scene with the crocodiles. There's also a really cool boat chase. And during the boat chase, we meet Sheriff J.W. Pepper, who is this Louisiana sheriff from some parish in Louisiana. And he takes over the scene. He's ordering the Louisiana State Troopers around. And he is really the comic relief in this movie. And people liked him so much that he was actually brought back in the next James Bond movie, The Man with the Golden Gun, which we see tomorrow night. And tomorrow night I will talk about his character in that one, because his character in that one is hilarious. I mean, he's hilarious in this one, and he's even funnier in the other one because, we'll talk about that one tomorrow night. But one thing I like about this movie is that it's got lots. I love mysteries. I love secret doorways. I love secret rooms. I love secret passages. My dream home is to have a home where you can go into a room and you can get to other rooms through secret passages and doorways and things like that. To have that type of a home, to have a secret room that I can just go and hang out in and nobody knows that I'm there. They walk into a room and I'm on the other side of a bookcase or something. And I actually went touring through 4 or 5 years ago when I was looking at either buying a house or before I came up with the RV concept. I actually came up with the RV concept. Now it's back to looking at houses again. No, sorry, it was earlier this year when we were looking at houses, and one of the floor plans actually had a bookcase a portion of the bookcase, it was a built-in bookcase, portion of the bookcase that swung out, and there was a secret room in behind it. I was like, and so I love secret passages, secret rooms, secret doorways, and things like that. This movie has a lot of those in it, which is one reason that I love this movie, is because you never know. They push a button and they disappear. They're sitting at a table, the table disappears, and then as soon as another one put in its place. And just all sorts of ways that they get people out of a space, and then they make it look like that they just got up and left. It is really cool. So they've got secret passages, they've got secret doorways. Really, really cool. They even have a very interesting henchman. He's called Whisper, and he's one of the henchmen for Kananga, and Kananga is the drug lord who also happens to be the mayor of San Monique and is also known as Mr. Well, Kananga is the mayor of San Monique, but he also plays this character. He's also Mr. Big as well. Mr. Big is the big drug lord, and they've got these poppy fields in San Monique, and they use the voodoo to keep people away from them because people are so scared of it and things like that. So there's this whole thing to do with the drugs. But I love Whisper because that's all he does. He doesn't yell or scream or anything else. Everything that he does is a whisper, and it's a very quiet whisper. And so he definitely lives up to his name. Now, in this movie, we also get to meet Quarrel Jr. And if you've been watching along, you'll know that Quarrel was in Dr. No, and he was the fisher. He was the guy with the boats that took James Bond out to the island where Dr. No was. And so in this movie, we get to see Quarrel Jr., who is Quarrel's son from Dr. No. So that's really cool. And this movie here is Live and Let Die was the only Bond film until Casino Royale in 2006 not to feature the character Q. And I had to think about that, and I thought, that's right, he doesn't appear in this one. So out of all of the movies that Desmond Llewellyn was around for as Q, this is one film he was not in. He was actually on a contract for a TV series called Follyfoot. Follyfoot, down in the meadow where the winds come from. That's what that one was for. Or was that Black Beauty? No, it was Follyfoot. They have a really cool theme song that's stuck with me for years. And so he was in that TV series Follyfoot, and they wanted him on the film, so they released him and let him go missing for 3 episodes of Follyfoot. Only once we organized all of that, they in turn says, yeah, no, we're not going to use you. We're not having Q in this one. There's too many gadgets. We're just not going to put Q in this one. So it's like, okay. Also, too, the other interesting fact about this one is they had the Galstrom boats are what they used in the boat chases on the bayous. And I have to tell you about bayous because in a second. They built 26 Galstrom boats were built for the film. 17 of those 26 were destroyed in rehearsals. I was like, dang. And they also unintentionally set a Guinness World Record. They have a speedboat jump over the bayou in this. They jump over a bayou with a speedboat, and it went for 110 feet or 34 meters that it cleared. And that apparently set a Guinness World Record. So you never know what's going to come out of movies. So anyway, to bios. So I have this book series that I absolutely love. It's called the Miss Fortune Mystery Series. And it's about a CIA operative by the name of Fortune Redding, who in the very first book gets sent to this little town called Sinful, Louisiana. And it's roughly a couple of hour drive north of somewhere near New Orleans. It's only a couple of hours away from New Orleans. That one I remember because I was talking about driving down New Orleans. And so she's the CIA operative. Now you're talking CIA operative, short hair and all that. She has to go in under the name of what is the name? Can't remember the name because she never uses it. She goes in under her boss. Her boss at the CIA has a niece who is supposed to go and settle her grand aunt's estate. So her grand aunt Marge passed away, and so the boss sends his niece off to Europe for the summer vacation, and Fortune borrows his niece's identity and goes to Sinful, Louisiana, and stays in Great Aunt Marge's house and is supposed to be there for the summer, inventorying the house for settling the estate and that sort of thing. And but the problem is that his niece is a former beauty queen and a school librarian, the total opposite of Fortune Redding's character person. And so she gets hair extensions put in, she gets fake nails put on, she has to walk in heels, all the girly stuff she has never had to do. But this takes place in Civil, and out the back of Aunt Marge's place is the bayou, and there's a lot of adventures that take place on the bayou. So I love watching this movie Live and Let Die because I get to see them racing around in boats on the bayou, and it takes me back to the Miss Fortune series. And so whenever I'm reading, I actually listen to these ones on audio. So I'm listening to some audios and they're talking about the boat chases or going out on the bayou and in the lake and that sort of stuff. I go back to these scenes from Live and Let Die where they're doing the boat chases through the bayou, so I can so it gives me a foundation of what the bayous look like. So that's why this is another reason I love this movie, is because I get to go and refresh my memory of what the bayous look like, and I can fit them in with when I'm listening to the Fortune Redding books and they're talking about going in the bayous and things. So yeah, and then there's also crocodiles in this too. So James Bond gets trapped on this little island in a lake, in a pond full of crocodiles, and yeah, he has to escape. It's quite funny how they do that. So this is a really cool movie. There's a lot of action in it. You won't see Q in there. You do get to meet Leiter, and the guy who plays Leiter in this movie comes back in, I think it's License to Kill. He comes back in License to Kill and plays the character of Felix Leiter again, the CIA connection that James Bond has. So the CIA's version of James Bond. So you get to see him in this movie, and you'll get to see him again in License to Kill, which is Timothy Dalton's movie. So anyway, we're out of here. We're off to watch. So my questions for you tonight: have you seen Live and Let Die? What do you think of it? Oh, the Bond girl is Jane Seymour. She plays Solitaire, who is the one who reads the tarot cards for Kananga, because he's very interested in everything, the decision. He asks her questions and everything out. And she has the power to see the present and the future. Like, she can tell him that, whether or not James Bond is lying, and whether or not, where he is and things like that. So she can see this in the cards until an incident that causes her to lose all of her powers. So it's a very interesting story with lots of twists and turns and lots of good action in there. Some great chases. The speedboat chases are awesome. Sheriff J.W. Pepper. Oh my gosh, he's a hoot and a half. So anyway, we are off to watch that one. You ready for James Bond, Zeffie? Zeffie's so funny. She comes up to me last night and I'm sitting here. I don't know if you can hear her yipping. This is the only time I actually hear her barking or doing a barking sound. I don't know if you could hear that or not, but see, when she's in her sleep, when she's sleeping, doing I don't know what, but she makes these barking noises. She very rarely, I can count on one hand the number of times that she's barked in the last 4 years, almost 4 years. The 16th of November, in 8 days, it's going to be her gotcha day, fourth gotcha anniversary. So I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, so she comes, and so last night she was really funny because I was just finishing up some things before I went to watch Diamonds Are Forever last night, and she's sitting here next to me with her paw on my leg. I'm like, okay, I'm coming. And as soon as I get up from the thing, she goes running into the family room. She gets up on her couch there. She gets the love seat. I get the 3-seater, and she's got this big fluffy blanket on the 2-seater that she curls up in. And she was curled up there with her head resting on the pillow watching the TV last night. She is a huge James Bond fan, which I discovered 2 nights after I adopted her, when I started watching James Bond movies again. Because I watched up, and then the first 2 nights that I had her, I didn't watch any TV. We just spent time getting to know each other and playing with her and getting her used to being handled by a person in a loving way, and things like that. And so it was the 3rd night that I had her with me. I put James Bond on, and she just sat there on the couch and just watched with great intent. And every time I've done the James Bond movie, she's there, she's watching. Hey, sweetie girl, you ready to go watch James Bond? No? Okay. As soon as I get up, she'll go sit in her chair because she knows it's James Bond time. So we are out of here to go and watch the very first Roger Moore James Bond movie, which is Live and Let Die. If you have seen it before, please let us know. Also, too, Roger Moore is the one that, I think he's the one that had the most James Bond movies. I think he did 7, if I remember correctly. He did 7. Hang on, 1. I can count now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, he did 7 James Bond movies, which was more than any of the other actors. Tomorrow night's one, we've got The Man with the Golden Gun, and I have to tell you, I love the house that Scaramanga lives in. But you'll get to hear more about that tomorrow, and unfortunately they went and blew it up. But it's a James Bond movie. They blow up everything. So anyway, and you'll get to hear more about Sheriff J.W. Pepper tomorrow. I can't remember what parish in Louisiana he's from, but he tells you all of that. Anyway, go out, have a super fantastic sparkling evening. Let us know in the comments below. Have you seen Live and Let Die? What do you think of it? What do you think of the first movie of Roger Moore as James Bond? And what are some of the things that you know about the movies that I may not know about? Do you know any fun facts about any James Bond movies and stuff? Leave them in the comments below. because I'm always willing to learn more about James Bond movies and find out more interesting facts and things that we can bring to you. So anyway, we are out of here for the evening. Go have a super fantastic sparkling evening, and we'll catch you guys back here tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. Pacific. Hey, konara.